Hello and welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Big shout out to those of people in chat already. Jack, Ian, and Marcus. Thanks for joining us. Um, yes, welcome, welcome. It is 6 o'clock. It is the 6 o'clock club. I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and it is Friday. And what a week it has been. A roller coaster of a week. And this is fundamentally going to do my recap. Obviously, if there is anybody in chat that wants to ask me questions, shout up. I can see chat here. Um, but before we recap the week that was, we'll talk about last night's game and the game coming up tonight, as we always do. It's a little bit of a warmer and aperitif whilst we wait for people to jump into chat and for the stream to catch up with them and for the questions to fly. So last night's game was Call of the Neverdeep, the published adventure from Wizards of the Coast, I believe written by Matt Mercer and a number of other extremed writers. Um, Acclaimed writers, I think is the word I'm looking for. I will explain my lack of words more than normal in a minute. Um, it's a great campaign book. Really enjoying running it. I believe the players are also enjoying it. It's very role play orientated. And shout out to the players first and foremost. We have Jack, who's in chat, James, Joe, M, Connor, and Michael, all in that game. Super fun. Um, and even with my fog brain at the moment, it was a pleasure to run. It went from what I thought from my side incredibly smoothly. Um, don't really want to spoil too much about it, but they have reached the settlement, the fort of Bazazan, and they are about. I think next session they should venture forth into Betrayer's Rise. So plenty more of the campaign to do. Um, very much enjoying it. It's a fortnightly game. I think they're fifth level at the moment. And as a shout out to um, last night's conversation about making games harder, this is quite interesting in the fact that because they are in the wild waste and they're in this resource deprived fort that is under constant attack. There isn't just a magic item shop, and although they've got coin and a desire to purchase, they're finding it difficult to find resources at the moment, and that is a sort of interesting mechanic. It's, I think, done deliberately, but through some very good role playing. They managed to get hold of some items last night, which certainly will help them as they descend into Betrayer's Rise. Um, I think it almost ended perfectly as well. We run games from 7 to 10, and the NPC kind of said a phrase that was a cliffhanger at exactly 10 o'clock. So couldn't have been timed better. Um, then we are talking about tonight's game, and before we do the week in review, and tonight's game is our weekly game, our weekly Friday game. Um, Always super hyped about this. This is Collateral Damage, highest level game that I'm running currently, 18th level. Um, they are currently in Eberron in the Moor Holds, and they are descending down, trying to um, locate an ancient dwarven ruin, some halls, um, and they believe them to be infested with Dalkia. Dalkia are aberrations from the Eberron sort of plane of Zorat. Um, so they encounter some Umber Hulks, which aren't aberrations, but they are heading towards the Forge tonight. The Forge being a Duergar settlement, Dark Dwarfs, and we'll see what happens tonight. Um, it's always an incredibly fun game to be involved in. And a shout out to the players on that game as well. We have Ben, Charlotte, V, Stuart, Ryan, and Michael, and we await with some kind of bated breath for the return of Richard. He's on a little bit of a sojourn at the moment. I mentioned this a few times, having just had a baby. Um, so I hope you are doing okay and getting at least some sleep. And I do look forward to the time that you rejoin us. Richard did speak up in Discord today as well. There was an email that I got from Fantasy Grounds advertising the fact that they've just released the rule set for Cyberpunk Red, and Richard was in one of those games as well, a Cyberpunk Red game. So I'm very excited. I shall be getting hold of that, having a look at it. I've got the rule books already, but it'll be nice to actually have it on Fantasy Grounds. And who knows, check out our Discord if you like your cyberpunk things. There might be at least a one shot, quite possibly a one shot, if not a mini campaign coming up very, very shortly for Cyberpunk Red. Um, so, oops. Hey, Chris, a long time no speak. It is awesome to see you. I hope you're doing okay, buddy. I really do. I know that you run an awful lot of games as well, but it's really good to touch bases with you again. Thank you very much for being part of this. We do this, you've probably seen my posts already, but Monday to Friday, just conversation. Normally, I have someone to the side of me, actually, this side, but tonight I'm all alone. It's when I'm at my most dangerous, so we say. But really good to have your company. We've just been talking about last night's game and tonight's game. But the week in review, and what a week has it been. I felt a little fatigued on Sunday night, and I kind of ran my Sunday afternoon game, but postponed the 7 o'clock game. It was a play test of the system I'm sort of working on. Monday came and it was my admin day, and all of that went okay, kind of sending out Discord messages to see who's playing in the campaigns for the week, doing a little bit of writing, all of that kind of malarkey. Supposedly, Monday is my day off, but it is very much a day of recuperation from the games that run at the weekend, and a lot of admin setting up for the week. Um, so I mean that was Monday really, and I felt all at sorts on Monday, but didn't think too much of it. And then Monday night, hiya Cara. Yes, Cara's in chat as well, and it's day off in quotation marks. We did have a great date night though, me and my much better half, Heather. And we managed to watch Wakanda Forever. Haven't seen it at the cinema, so I was really excited to see it. Big fan of the Marvel movies. I really enjoyed the movie. It is a long movie though, and yeah, we watched the movie. Then we went to bed, and poor Heather has to get up very, very early for work. She does an early shift for the NHS. And she got up, and then I got woken up with a message, which is she tests every day for COVID because she works at the NHS, and it's like, I appear to have COVID. Um, you best test as well. So I felt fatigued, but didn't think much more of it. Heather definitely had it. She very sensibly isolated. She's a trooper though, and even though she's had a very bad cough, sore throat, sweats, and everything else, she has sort of fully isolated, and I've been looking after her. But she still was working from home. Um, and I've kind of been all of sorts with it for the whole of the week. It's a terrible thing, and whilst I've been nowhere near as ill as Heather, I've had a cough, and more recently now my train of thought is completely off. Um, so I struggled through doing some work on Tuesday, admin work, writing, and all of that for the games. But I was very keen to ensure that we do the 6 o'clock shows, shows clubs, um, because it's something that's new and we need to build a bit of momentum. So I was helped along with Christian being being part of that show as well. And Tuesday night we had a good show. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. We chatted about rules and um, what are complex rules. Do people think that the Pathfinder 2 rules are more complicated than 5th edition rules? What rule sets are fit for purpose, i.e., some rule sets are very cleverly designed to represent a genre or a theme, and that was a fun chat. But by the end of Tuesday, I was very fatigued, so we should have been running Vampire the Masquerade that night, but we postponed it, and I went to bed. Um, Things were a little bit more interesting than that for Wednesday, though, because Wednesday, the first time in forever, I was supposedly had to go out to a meeting. I'm working with some amazing people at the moment on a very special sort of project. Um, and it was supposed to be our first face-to-face meeting Wednesday daytime, and they had to beam me in remotely because I didn't want to chance passing on COVID to anybody. Um, but that meeting was just absolutely brilliant. Um, some very talented people in that room. We will be talking about it a little bit more. I don't want to be sort of uh, super vague about it, but as soon as we can have this, it's kind of to do with role playing, kind of. Um, but I think in a few weeks' time we'll be able to make an announcement, and it can't. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more. Don't get too excited. It's a very interesting project, but don't get amazingly excited about it. Um, and then on Wednesday at 6 o'clock club, we had an amazing guest, Charlie from Shiver, um, and Charlie discussed how he got into writing for role playing, his background, and about Shiver. And that was absolutely outstanding. I beseech you, not just for my watch rates, but check that video on demand if you can. It's Wednesday 6 o'clock club, because I think it's very informative. It gives you a really good flavour of what Shiver's about, and I'm very keen to run that game. And the more of you in our community that kind of look at it and find out whether it's for you, the better, basically, as far as I'm concerned. And Charlie basically, we'd had private discussions before, but he confirmed that he was more than happy to do an actual play of Shiver as well. So we're putting together um, a actual play of Shiver where Charlie runs it. I mean, how lucky are we going to be to actually have the games designer run a game for us, and for the first time in a very long time. Not quite the first time, because I might be doing it another one before that, which I'll come on to in a minute. um, I'll be a player. You'll actually get to see me be a player. Um, but I can't rate Shiver enough. I wasn't just being positive about it because I was interviewing it. I actually genuinely think it is a very clever system, and is very clever the way that it does everything. So I'm very keen to embrace that. Um, we we were going to do the actual play for Shiver actually on Wednesday night, but schedules just weren't happening. The concept is that occasionally we'll get a games designer on, we'll do a 6 o'clock club, and then we'll roll on to 7 o'clock and do an actual play. So you get to see the game that we've just talked about. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, I was feeling a little bit better. Um, Still got this terrible, terrible brain fog. It's why I'm wearing my thinking cap at the moment. I didn't really think it was a real thing. You kind of hear people talk about it and how bad it is, and you kind of, I mean, this might be just me, but you just kind of go, well, okay then. But I've had a couple of incidences that I've mentioned to a few people. Um, I think it was yesterday I lost my baseball cap, and one of the main reasons why I wear them is because my headphones get caught in my incredibly long hair. And before I put them on, I kind of want to put my baseball cap on. And it must have took me 5 minutes searching desperately because I was running out of time for my baseball cap. And in the end, I've got several of them. I just went to get another one to put it on, only to realise it was on my head all of the time. Um, and this morning, I got myself my traditional glass out, ready to take some medication. Went to the fridge to get my orange juice, which I always do. I was just about to pour it and realised I actually had milk in my hand. Had to go back to the fridge and get the orange juice. None of this is about role playing, but it's about my state of mind at the moment. So tonight's game's going to be interesting, and the weekend's games are going to be interesting as well. If you don't notice any change, I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, so that was Thursday daytime. I actually reached out to people that I know, people that I don't particularly know, but kind of follow me through social media and stuff, because I thoroughly enjoyed what we did with Charlie. Um, and I've had some answers, quite a few answers of people who are either creators, writers, GMs, players, all of which are keen to come onto the 6 o'clock club and, have a chat about their experiences. I want the club to be a huge mixture of experiences. This is why I've called it club. It's not just about me. It's not just about uh, those that are in the industry. It's about grassroots play as well. So I'm more than happy to have conversations with anybody. So I'm building up a list of names so we can chat. I know Cara is in there in the chat at the moment. I mean, it would be amazing at some point to have conversations about you and Kyle. I'm not going to say anything else, but you know, it's amazing what roleplay has done for people. It really has, and we should celebrate it and highlight it. Um, and then we're still on Thursday. I've still got my train of mind. Jack very kindly volunteered to come in and ask me a few questions, and we had conversations about rule sets. Uh, yeah, no, Cara, absolutely. Um, um, Sort of rule sets, particularly fifth edition. There are all sorts of rules, variant rules, to make it harder, more realistic, more grim and gritty. And it was a very interesting conversation. We've had quite a lot of people that have viewed that. A lot of likes on it, which is awesome. Um, I I can't do this without all of you. The hope is really to sort of build the stream up, the YouTube channel up to a degree that it helps kind of finance all of the effort that goes into do it. So whilst I'm not pleading, a cheeky little, it's actually down. I can't do the camera. Oh, down there. You can give us a cheeky subscribe if you can. It really helps, and also watch the videos. The bizarre thing about the way that they review YouTube is that you don't get any kind of merit for watching a live stream. You only get the watch hours for watching a video on demand. So whilst I want you here, I want you watching here, it does help if you give it a sneaky relook back on the main channel, because before we can start earning any kind of ad revenue, we need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which in the world of YouTube is literally nothing, but in my little world is absolutely everything. So we had a very good chat with Jack, as I said, and thank you very much for jumping into that. And then we went on to Call of the Neverdeep, which I've already discussed at the start of the show, so I won't repeat that. Then it's been today. Today I've been answering people that are volunteering to help out with the channel, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got a couple of things happening next week with that. Hopefully we've got Christian Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as usual, and we'll be talking about the week ahead of us on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Whatever subject matter you're interested in, go to our Discord channel. You can find it down in the comment sections below. Tell us what you want us to chat about. And then on Thursday, we've got Chris from Evil Pigeon Games. He's done a number, I think 4 supplements, published supplements for 5th edition D&D. And he's coming on. He's got another Kickstarter. He's going to be chatting about that and all sorts of things. So that'll be fun to see. And then on Friday, so a week today, Leprechaun here in chat, if you are still listening and walking at the same time, has volunteered to turn the tables a little bit. He's going to come in and interview me. He's going to ask me I have no idea what questions he's going to ask me at the moment, but a week today you'll get to hear me ramble on about all sorts of things, how I perhaps got into the industry. I'm fairly open about a lot of things, so most of you probably already know this anyway, but there might be some stuff that you don't know. Hey, Leprechaun, thanks very much for that. Also, what has happened today, Christian, co-host Monday through to Wednesday, has volunteered. So our very first actual play, I believe, will be Blades in the Dark, a one shot, and I think that will premiere 28th of February, maybe Tuesday 28th of February. So that'll be the very first one. So we'll do the 6 o'clock show, and then at 7 o'clock we will just lead into that. So exciting news all round, really. Right, I will take a quick sip of my brew. Please shout up if you've got any questions on any of that. I really appreciate everybody hanging around in chat and spending some time with me anyway. But I did say I would talk about Saturday and Sunday's games, because no 6 o'clock club Saturday night and Sunday night. So on Saturday we've got Dungeon of the Mad Mage at 10 o'clock in the morning. the big mega dungeon um, situated below Waterdeep, controlled by Hallister, the Mad Mage. Last session, which was 2 weeks ago, it ended kind of mid-combat against some Nagas. So it's going to be interesting as they battle against these Nagas. Nagas are quite dangerous creatures, really. So I'm going to look forward to that. We'll throw ourselves into the battle, and then they will carry on exploring maybe that level, or maybe descending even lower. Um, they are maybe about just under midway from the entirety of the campaign. And as always, I know it's an old campaign book, but I am trying to run it as written within the book, apart from characters' backstories. So don't really want to give too many spoilers out for that, in case anybody does eventually sort of play it. As a mega dungeon, if that is your kind of thing, I think it is excellently written. Um, um, the interesting thing, I'll just raise this point because I've just thought of it. The interesting thing is that their other book, which is Dragon Heist, is kind of almost the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of roleplay. Dragon Heist is one of my favourite campaign books from Wizards of the Coast, but it's very roleplay orientated. Um, so it's a big change in pace and style of game to follow on from Dragon Heist to Dungeon of the Mad Mage, if you see what I mean. Um, Hello, Elsa. Thank you very much for joining us. Um, that's not a criticism to that, but it's an interesting dichotomy, really. I also learned on Wednesday in that big meeting um, the difference between radial and radical. So ever learning. People who were in that meeting will understand what I'm talking about. Um, and all will become, we were talking about Fantasy Ground. So we do have Ian, we have Pete, we have Anand, we have Jocelyn, and we have Josh, all in that campaign. So I wanted to name check people. Big shout out to them. Thank you very much, everybody. Then after that, that game is 10 to 1, from 1 till 4. We jump back to back into another 5th edition game, which is Greyhawk Unbound. Genuinely a pleasure to kind of almost go back to the old days, and old sort of style of role playing. It is 5th edition, but we've got, and the players who embraced 5th edition completely. A couple of our players very, very into optimizing character builds, and I kind of love that. Just going to quickly read something from Chris here. Agree on being too different. I liked Dragon Heist, but really struggled with Mad Mage. The latter really left me feeling washed out trying to run it. Um, yeah, Chris, absolutely. Um, I I've kind of embraced the madness of Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and um, uh, I'm having fun running it, but it is an absolutely different um, mentality. It really is. And you kind of have to almost take each level as a kind of separate sort of story arc, and link it. It's quite a complex and big thing to take on, um, and it's not very role play, if you know what I mean. And it's, you know, there is no right and wrong. It's your kind of enjoyment. Um, but I find it interesting that it seems a natural flow from Dragon Heist into Dungeon of the Mad Mage, but I don't think it is a natural flow because the two campaigns, as I've just said earlier, are completely at different ends of the roleplay spectrum. Um, but Greyhawk Unbound, a genuine pleasure. As I say, we've got some players that really like to excel at optimizing their characters, which makes it a challenge to me. We have Wayne, we have John, we have Al, and we have Simon that play in that game, and it's a hoot and a blast. Um, I enjoy all of the games I run, but this is perhaps the most sort of old schooly one, um, in atmosphere and vibe that I kind of run. Um, I mean, we're all basically, I'll kindly say, middle-aged men, but some of them might not be quite middle-aged. But we're all acting like, you know, 13-year-old boys down in the basement playing Dungeons and Dragons for the first time, and it's I mean it's a blast really. Um, and then from 4 till 7, something that is very close to my heart. It's my own homebrew setting, Tales from the Smoke. And we have Ben, we have Cara, we have Kyle. I'm kind of pointing to that area there because they are in chat, and we also have Marcus, who hopefully is still in chat. This is a newish campaign that I've started up again, set in the smoke, my Victorian steampunk fantasy gothic world. If you can't put any more taglines into that, um, and it's great. They are just scratching the surface of some kind of conspiracy going on. Don't want to say much more, but uh, loving it, loving it, and the players are coming up with some really interesting ideas. Cara and Kyle's character were from a campaign that sort of stalled sort of very early in the day, which was Spelljammer. Um, so they have actually crash landed upon the world of the smoke and are seeking ways of trying to get their Spelljammer functioning again. So it's super fun and very exciting. Just to read some of your comments, Chris has said it was very old school, and I think the teenage me would have loved it. Whereas now, for some reason, you personally prefer more roleplay side. Absolutely, and um, like I say, everybody's entitled to their own fun, and there is no. We are not here to judge, and I totally understand what you're saying. And for me, Dragon Heist was just so much fun to run. So much fun. I think with Dungeon of the Mad Mage, unless you really want to hack your way through it, I mean, it's a long campaign as well. You know, it's not so much a slog, but there's an awful lot to do, and you can spend 6 months on a level if you're kind of only meeting up fortnightly. Absolutely. Kyle has said, looking forward to exploring some more of the smoke and see what chaos you get into. Absolutely. I'm super excited for that. I'm excited for all the games, really. Um, so that is Saturday, and then Sunday. Um, I because I've got this fog brain and on the back end of whatever I had. Um, I'm not doing. I run a game from 7 to 10 as well, but I don't know Heather's state of mind whether I'm going to have to sort of make sure she's okay. So we have postponed the evening game, um, which is a full-on spelljammer called Cosmic Rain. Um, but hi to Sky and to Adam and to Jack, who would have been playing in that if I wasn't feeling so lousy. We've got a couple of games on Sunday as well. There's a Mythical, which is my very high fantasy sort of homebrew world, and we've got Ian, we've got Marcus, we've got Jack, we've got Casper, and we've got Natasha in that. Mythicals are tend to be one shots, although this mythical is beginning to the story hooks are coming basically. So the Weird Eaters are beginning to return, but because it's a one shot, I can't really speak too much about what's going on because obviously I'll be giving away the story. A couple of more comments. Elsa very nicely said, please look after Heather. Yeah, I mean, obviously I do. Uh, and thank you for your very kind words and all your help. Elsa was foremost there to help me through with some of the graphic design of what you can see now, and being an inspiration for me to try and work out how to do the thumbnails and stuff like that you're seeing. So this week, as well as everything else, I've become a graphic designer. Busy, busy, busy. And then Chris says, Andy, in terms of your smoke realm, are you a pen and are you a paper and pen person? Do you use digital record all your world building information? Um, uh, since COVID and lockdown, I've not really done any face-to-face games at all. We had to make a big technical leap, um, and I chose Fantasy Grounds as my virtual tabletop of choice. It was a steep learning curve, but now that I've learnt it, I really like it, and it's the perfect system to um, basically contain all of the information and to swap information around and everything. So yeah, everything now is contained on Fantasy Grounds. I do also write it um, in Word as well, just in case Fantasy Grounds just disappears. I don't want to lose all of that information. Um, but as a digital tool to record and move everything around, um, I'm very pleased with what Fantasy Grounds does, and it's a virtual tabletop as well, so can do all of the combat and the like. But great question, absolutely. Um, and then last but least, on Sunday from 4 to 7 is our weekly game, which is our Eberron game, where we will have Jenny, Jocelyn, Rachel, Christian, and Tony all sort of entering this tournament, this card gaming tournament for high stakes. But there's a lot of agendas and different parties. It's a massive tournament. Started out with about 1,200 players or something like that. It's been condensed now down to sort of about 500. And there was a big cliffhanger at the end of the last session. So very excited to see where they take that as well. Kyle, you're absolutely right. You do miss face-to-face games and rolling real dice. 100% there. Because of the way that I run games now, um, it's going to be very difficult to return to face-to-face as a mainstream go-to, because we've got players from all around, well, basically the world now. Um, but I am still working upon um, this kind of mini convention-y type thing where we book a hotel, we book a few rooms in the hotel, and we have a nice stay, and we play some face-to-face games. We can, have meals together and go to the bar and that kind of thing. So it's a kind of weekend experience, um, but where we get to play some games as well. So it's a little project, as if I haven't got enough projects on my on my shoulders, that we're working on as well. Um, Elsa, absolutely. Um, I will be shouting out about Shiver. Very much recommend, as say, people go and check out that video on demand. Um, I'm sure, Chris, you remember the old Chimera cons and the old Chimera, you know, game days, the Saturday game days, something along the lines of that. I'm not overly thinking of a massive, expensive D&D in the castle, but there might be cool for, you know, if, for instance, male or female gamer that you are, you might have a partner that isn't into role playing but might want to come and take part in the hotel facilities. Um, you know, they might want to go for a spa or whatever, and then there'll be a social aspect to it as well. I'm working it out. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, what one of the really great things about the old store Chimera was the community, you know, and being able to network and bring people together. Um, Fortunately, um, we, I mean, we kind of still do that through our Discord. If you're not in our Discord at the moment, Chris, check it out. Come and join us. It's not just about me, and the games I run. There's a lot of cool people that just hang out there, and they find it a place that they can openly speak about their experiences and things that have wound them up through the day. And come join us if you haven't already. Discord link should be in the comment section. Um, um, so, I mean, feel free to fire a few more questions. I've got 5-10 minutes before I'm going to have to jump to get ready for collateral damage. Um, but it's been a roller coaster of the week. Some absolutely amazing. Well, it's all been amazing, really, apart from the poor COVID hitting the household and sort of messing up sort of me being able to meet sort of face to face on Wednesday with this project. But I think there's some exciting times ahead. Um, and If you're in chat now and you're interested in featuring on the show, if you are watching on catch up and you are interested in featuring on the show, uh, the, it's a show called the 6 o'clock Club. So we're a club that is also a show. I keep messing that up. Um, uh, I mean, I'm the perfect example of don't be scared. Come on, chat to me. I'm certainly not a professional. Certainly not a professional. But I kind of like that to be a bit grounded. You know what I mean? But I am trying to become professional. I'm trying to get the thumbnails and the graphics sorted and the tech. But I can't do it without your help. Um, Sorry, I'm just laughing at Leprechaun's question. I don't know whether he's done it deliberately to bait me. Um, he's asked a great question. What settings do I think Wizard of the Coast should bring back? Um, and then Dark Sun. Look. There is there is a big pause here because I have to remember this is going out for eternity. Um, I love all of the settings that Wizards of the Coast have done previously. I like Toril, which is Dragonlance. I like Athos, which is Dark Sun. I like Greyhawk. I like Faerun. I like Spelljammer. I like Planescape. Um, Through the many iterations of sort of systems and editions, there's been some amazing work, and a lot of that work has developed, and I you kind of take these settings and you make it your own, and you borrow from third party publishers and you like, and I genuinely love it all. um I'm very very dubious about 1D&D, and I hold my breath. um I very much hold my breath to see um how they release it, um um, how much it's going to cost to run it, what's the cost to players, etc., etc., etc. I'd more than happily run games in any of those settings, um, and I would certainly borrow ideas from those settings to play in other games, because I think they are amazing and wonderful. Um, and you can make them your own as well, like I've said. But I am a very um, I'm very interested in exploring things beyond Dungeons and Dragons as well. Now, whether that's another game rule set in one of these worlds that I've created, maybe. Um, am I going to leave fifth edition behind? No, I will carry on running it. I like fifth edition for as long as people want to play it. Will I adopt and embrace 1D&D? Well, the verdict's out. With everything that Wizards of the Coast have done in recent times, I am uh, um, I'm very skeptical. If I'm speaking honest, there's a lot they need to do um, to win me over, and this is, I do this for a living. So if a group of people go, we really want you to run 1D&D, whatever they're calling it, sixth edition, um, I'll run it, absolutely. Um, and I probably will like it, but I don't really want to invest an awful lot of my time, energy, and money into a system that might well be, um, you know, sort of paywalled. I think to the players is supposedly what I'm sort of saying. Um, they've got some great people at Wizards of the Coast, some great designers. It isn't a them and us, but we need to be, I suppose, adult, realistic about what is happening, what has happened throughout the entirety of January, and the verdict's out for me. Um, well, I mean, Greyhawk, as I've mentioned, is absolutely. I mean, it's a great setting. I like it, and whilst I totally agree, Marcus, that it might just be nostalgia, um, that's a great thing to have. That is a great thing to have. As for a book about the smoke, watch this space. We have got Matt, who jumped on, I think, not this week but last week. Um, he's a professional writer that is joining up with me so we can bring some of my crazy ideas to life in his words. He's a co-author, co-creator as well, and we're working on some projects here. So you might well see the smoke setting in print at some time. Um, that's very kind of you to say, Kyle. I would follow you whatever system you want to use. Well, I don't know whether it is me. It's a combination of many things around the table that makes a great game. But I genuinely want people to enjoy the game that they're playing. So it's an interesting dilemma, and only time will tell. As I say, I'm skeptical. I'm not like never. You know, if they prove they've got a solid product that is open to our community. They can access it easily without being kind of playing over the odds. Then absolutely we'll do it if that's what people want. Um, I'm not here to ever force my beliefs on any of you. I believe, and I genuinely believe, that we are all stronger together and all pushing in the right direction and raising everybody's um, enjoyment of games and gaming systems is exactly the right thing to do. Well, thank you very much. I say I've flown solo, rabbited on for 50 minutes. I hope you found some of it entertaining or interesting. That was my very roller coastery week. It's been great chatting to old faces and seeing new faces from the past sort of join us. Um, if you get chance, if you're watching this either in chat now or in the future on demand, please, please, please give us a like and subscribe. It makes the world to us. Um, I've got a dash. I've got games to run. I love you all. Stay safe, everybody. Some of you will catch tomorrow or over the weekend. If not, we're back here at 6 o'clock on Monday. Bye for now. Have a great weekend, everybody, whatever you're doing.